Welcome to the show before the show, where I check to make sure everything is working, and so far so good on all fronts here. Guys, how are you this lovely morning? Yes, I did get sick. Pretty sure it was my colleague at work. Thanks. I feel pretty good. I'm hoping to feel better by tomorrow, because tomorrow marks Escape Day 2024 for us, right on Easter. The greatest of escapes. But I've been trying to plan with a group of friends an escape day since the tail end of 2023, and we finally orchestrated a date where we could all go, just a full day of escape rooms, literally. And I feel like shit, but we're gonna make this work. We're gonna make this deck build today work. We're gonna make this work, and hopefully tomorrow's gonna be dandy. But there's a lot to go on today for me, so I want to get the show going with this sorcery stream. We were meant to have a guest today. He could just be sleeping, or I don't know what's going on. I think he's in mountain time, so it's something like 9 over there. But Kyle of Scourge Altars could be joining us later. No promises. But this is a deck concept that we kind of got to talking about together when we were playing a sealed event while I was in Texas for a recent sorcery tournament. So the basic concept is this. I pulled a Wall of Fire, and I'm like, this feels like an underutilized card. There must be cool things you could do with this. I mean, 3 damage is a lot for a unit to pass through and take. So the concept here is to use Wall of Fire to kill our opponents in their stuff. That's the general idea. It would be fun to playtest this, so maybe we could get something going. If you are a member in the audience and also have Tabletop Simulator and want to playtest this, we can get a random game going, and I can get you in the room so we can test this. But elsewise, we're going to try building this out from relatively scratch. I've put a few cards in here that I think make sense, although this deck feels like it wants to be in 4 colors, and I can explain why in a second. But at any rate, show before the show territory. How are you guys doing? Hey, what's a sorcery? Trickster, what's a sorcery? That's a good question. Sorcery is better MTG. That's interesting. I would like to see more sets release, and I would like to see how they iterate on this game. But Trickster, to answer your question, what's a sorcery? It's basically like Magic, right? Except there aren't very many instant speed interactions. I think up until this point there's one. So it's a little bit more calculated in its play style. It's not quite like chess where we're reacting off of one another's plays. You get a full turn to do whatever you want. Your opponent gets a full turn to do whatever they want. The difference being is that the cards you play are placed onto sites that you lay out on a 4x5 grid. I can actually show you what that looks like, actually. So we're going to just ignore... There you go. Yeah, there you go. There you go. 4x5 grid. I forgot. I thought that my deck builder was up, but we'll look at that later. So that's the grid. You place sites, you play minions onto the sites. You can play monuments. You have artifacts that you can equip. There's a lot of similarities to Magic, I'm not gonna lie, and like even the keywords have similar effects, but the difference being there's mobility here, right? There's kinetic action to the game, and it does change how the game resolves. Like sometimes you could have the best deck and poor luck and lose, or you can have the worst deck and great luck and lose, just like any TCG. But site placement and your manipulation of your avatar and your minions is like a big defining factor in how well the game goes. So it's going to be like very mission critical with this list, because we're going to be trying to manipulate Wall of Fire, which I can just put up on the screen now, to essentially kill opposing avatars, but also all of their stuff. And we'll try to funnel them into this effect. But anyway, you're not supposed to make out with coworkers. Yeah, Grizzly. Don't tell my wife. No, she was just sneezing all over the place. She was like open-faced sneezing everywhere. I'm sitting here like, oh God, should I put a mask on? I'm trying to film whatever this is. We called it quits, like it was a dead day. But man, and then I just started, I like, when I walked home that evening, I'm like, man, is it just my mind? I feel like just itchy, gross, and then culminated to today. Okay. It's a combination of Risk and Magic, I guess. There's a digital client, tabletop simulator, yeah. I played Magic for 29 years and was instantly hooked on Sorcery. What's the easiest way to learn it? That's an image. Yeah. What's it? Is there an easy way to learn Sorcery? I think they paid to have a guide made for the game, but I won't say that it's the best way to learn. I think if you just watch gameplay, it could help, although the rules honestly are a little hairy sometimes, so people do make mistakes and it kind of goes unchecked. I would say I would make a guide, but damn, did that last one for One Piece take a while. Luckily it's doing well, but I'll teach you how to play today. How about that? To be fair, we were doing great halfway through the stream yesterday. Till about halfway through the stream yesterday. What happened halfway through the stream? Something happened that I missed? What do you mean? Did I wind up kissing Will digitally? What are you talking about? Let me see here. Okay. Yeah, I'm curious, Trickster, what you're talking about. Yo, OTJ, which I'm definitely not looking at right now. It looks so good. So I need to know what's in those commander decks. Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. It already is awesome. Grizzly, do you still play? Oh, you got sick. Oh, thanks. yeah, it all happened live. I'm glad you were there for that. We had a sneeze, I think. Did I have a sneeze? I was gonna get my bullet bourbon, thought maybe it would help, but actually, factually, I don't think it will. Grizzly, are you Blue Wizard on Discord? By the way, there's a link to the Discord. It should be active in the description here. But if you guys want to join the Discord to talk any TCGs, you're more than welcome to. I predominantly play Magic, Sorcery, a lot of One Piece since recently. Having a real bitch of a time with the current decks I'm playing, though. I don't know why that is. And then a little bit of Star Wars, which for some reason is like just on top. I don't even remember leaving it there, but that's how I have my Star Wars organized right now. Like I don't have a good case to put it in. Like I don't have this much Star Wars. It's doubtful I'll have this much Star Wars anytime soon. The game is fun, but I don't know. I get so unexcited with the card art. And again, like I said this the other night, the card art is half the reason I play these games, really. And Star Wars, like mechanically, is so good that I wanted to get into it, but damn, the card art is kind of a disappointment. Please fix that. Language pad, sorry, Bluebeard. Bluebeard. What did I say? Blue Wizard? Blue Avatar? I missed Decipher 90s Star Wars. I don't think is that a game? I don't think I've played that. I remember I played a lot of HeroClix though, and I know that near the tail end of my playing, like the DC and Marvel HeroClix, they also did like Dark Horse Comics HeroClix, which were their own metas. They wound up doing Star Wars versions of HeroClix, and it's like basically Mage Knight, but it looked so good. I just couldn't buy any more miniatures at that point. I still have all my HeroClix in this very room. I freaking love them. It would be so fun to stream HeroClix. I love that game so much. If you shout out Infinity Challenge, let me know if you played HeroClix when it came out years ago. So good. Original Burst of TCGs in the 90s was the best card game. Okay, that's a high claim. If it's on Tabletop Simulator, maybe I'll check it out. I've learned TTS is just a great way to explore every single card and or board game. But guys, do me a favor, if you're enjoying this, feel free to leave a like. I might be dying, but I'm here dying with you. And let's get into this stream, why don't we? Also, again, one final mention. If you're in the audience and you want to test this deck with me, otherwise we're just going to do a deck tech, and I'm honestly chill with that. But if you want to play test this deck with me and you're on Tabletop Simulator, I'll give you the login credentials so you can join me. But it would be fun to test this out live to get a feeling for it. But on that note, hi, I'm Patrick Marlatt, your local game guy, and today we'll be brewing for Wall of Fire and Sorcery Contested Realms. What is Wall of Fire? It's generally draft chaff. It's not a card you're like looking to mainline, but I'm crazy. I feel like I do crazy things every now and then, and this might be one of the crazier ones. But Wall of Fire is an ordinary. You can conjure it at the border of a site you control. So, you know, how this actually reads is that it just needs to be adjacent to one of the 4 sides of your site, right? At least my understanding. It's an interesting effect, though, because whenever a unit passes through Wall of Fire, and units being minions and or avatars, it takes 3 damage. Now, saw this, I'm like, okay, well, this is a really interesting effect. Maybe we could drag things through it. It's important to note, with like a wind blast, push everything atop sites 1 step in a cardinal direction. Things like a wind blast, this will actually move the wall as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I understand it. It could come as a bit advantageous depending on like the situation. Like, if we have this on a border where our opponent's units can't move any further that cardinal direction, we can get the wall to push past them. See, this is where the rules get hairy. I'm pretty sure that this, like, the thing could be on the border of a site and the void, but correct me if I'm wrong. I only commentate on the game. I don't actually know. How competitive is this going to be? That's a good question, Trickster. So, how competitive? If you've played Sorcery, you'll know that most any strategy is viable, although I will say that aggro seems to be most prevalent now, and I mean red. Red seems like it's usually the color of aggro in most games, and it's true for this game. Fire in this game is very aggressive with on play or ETB or Genesis effects that deal damage as soon as they arrive. So you'll have things like Vile Imps that do that. You have Dragonettes that trigger on end step, and I think they technically call it a trigger in this game. At any rate, there's plenty of ways to deal damage with red. So red is sort of known as that color. We're manipulating red. we're kind of using red here via Wall of Fire. Although, you know, I will say it's not the mainstay of this list, though. I think the mainstay is going to be anything that pushes, pulls, drags, or moves things towards the Wall of Fire. And there's other things we can manipulate with this list as well that will functionally benefit it, like Mariner's Curse is another water card I want to manipulate. But I think for the most part, this list is going to rely on that damage and then a few other shenanigans. Like, I kind of want to throw some rolling boulders in here. I kind of want to just use... So, Sorcerer at the helm, for starters, because of the draw. I think we want that. I kind of want to go 4 colors instead so that we can get Pudge Butcher to help push things through the Wall of Fire. Or drag things through the Wall of Fire, rather. But, like I was just illustrating, this will pull minions towards the Wall of Fire. So we've got that. We can also use Riptide to move units on a site that's a body of water, right within your body of water. So target site, water site rather, pulls an above ground unit it's adjacent to. So, you know, you're on... Well, it's interesting because it doesn't need to be one you control necessarily. So if there's a water site, which we should be producing much of, and our Wall of Fire is like on the border of it, we can use Riptide to pull things into it. What's nice though is like a lot of the cards we've just illustrated are cantrips, like this and Fire Harpoon are both cantrips. There's a lot of really great cantrips, and I still think this is true for this game right now. Water has the best cantrips in Sorcery, but water as a color is not that strong, sadly, because it's sort of the control tempo color for this game, but sadly a lot of the effects for it are kind of damned in the current meta, although, you know, if you watch the recent March of the Mortals stream, you'll know that an Enchantress won, spoiler alert, and there was a variety of really good water cards in it, so there's obviously hope for it. I just think people weren't anticipating that strategy. I think there were 3 Enchantress decks for the whole event. All right. Sorry, I'm going to catch up with your comments. Should I mute that? I'm so sorry. That's probably really loud. Okay. It died because the owner decided not to pay Oh, damn. Lucasfilm royalties. That's fair. How competitive is it? I don't know. Am I looking at a foil Pathfinder, Patrick? I would love a foil Pathfinder. What are you talking? Yeah, I mean, I've been wanting to. I want to get a foil Pathfinder for my own deck. I think that Pathfinder going into the future is probably going to be one of the stronger avatars, especially when there are better sites to be placing with it. Right now, you just have a lot of jank to fill in the gaps, but damn, is Pathfinder good? Okay. Oh, I assume. I know literally nothing. Got you. That's okay. I see the card that has types like ordinary. Yeah, so what we have here is just, at least with ordinary, that just dictates how many like card quantity you can have on a list. So ordinary means 4. Right here we have exceptional, that means 3. Elite would mean 2, and unique would mean 1. And this is true of sites and cards that make your the body of your deck. Okay. So we do have a variation that Kyle did make out that is not too dissimilar, honestly, to what I want to do with the deck. You'll notice there's 20 sites, 40 cards in the main deck, and then your choice of avatar. He originally had an Elementalist build for this, which I still think is like a good choice for this. You'll notice that there is a little symbol next to all of these. If you don't know what sorcery is, there's red symbol, blue symbol, purple symbol. That's fire, water, air. Elementalist makes that affinity cost reduced by 1. So you just need to look at the mana value associated with the cards instead. So going Elementalist lets us dip into every single color to more effectively play for this strategy, but I do think that we can get away with maybe a 4-color sorcerer here. I geared it towards being air, fire, water, with predominantly water effects in the body, but I think that this list might behoove us to go into a little bit of earth for some of the control effects. Also, the healing effects are really important, particularly with the site base. But the other thing here that we want to work around with the sites are effects like Bottomless Pit, or things that we can also manipulate our Wind Blast for to just kill minions with, right? So this is really good, like even if we don't hit our Wall of Fire. The other thing of note here is that because we lack earth, we lack healing, like I mentioned earlier, but we also lack one of the best tutors in the game, being Common Sense. Common Sense is just another chance for us to find our Wall of Fire because it is a 4 of, and it also happens to be a ordinary. So Common Sense lets you find that. Like Pushable, is there any way we can get a hold of Kyle? Nah, I don't know. I've messaged him multiple times. We'll see if he's alive. I just assume he's sleeping. But it's okay. He could. I was hoping to have him talk on his version of the list. I know that this is honestly not too dissimilar to what I wanted to do. Well, when you use the Mariner's Curse, Flood is a good way to create water sites to do the push and pull effect of your magic Riptide. But yeah, we definitely will follow some of the structure here. You'll notice that this list is predominantly water and earth, which is interesting, with a little bit of air. Lightning Bolt, presumably to finish the game, and then Wind Blast, obviously, for the push and pull effect. Every core, this is kind of nutty here, but you're sorcerer, so you're going to push through all of that. Yeah, there's a couple of double affinity things here, but the side base is interesting too. You've got split lands for the air and earth, and then obviously Pillar of Zeros. This is really good against Flamecaller. It banishes all dead minions. Flamecaller really likes manipulating dead minions for a lot of damage. It's also really good against Death Speaker. Pillar is just a good counter site for a lot of different strategies. But we're gonna be okay. We're gonna do our own thing here. We might go dip into Earth though. So the first thing I probably want to do is adjust our site base. Sadly, as it stands, I think that I like Bottomless Pit more than I like Free City. I could probably... The goal is to get our opponents to funnel their minions towards us in a route of our choosing. And things like Free City are a really good deterrent because they can both attack and defend units that are there. And obviously, if we wind blast something onto Free City, we can have Free City attack that thing. Good way to murk some characters, but I would rather just have them drop into a bottomless pit and then pad out our land base with some earth cards, but earth and water, I think. So if we take out the free cities, Mirror Realm is cute. It's just a good way to get the affinities we need if we're having issues with double affinity. But basically, it just copies a nearby site. Obviously, this is not going to be your first site for the game, but I saw a seagull on a card. Yeah, don't worry about the seagull. You don't want the albatross. You're not going to play this. It's not bad by any means, but it's not necessarily good, at least in the strategy. I do think that the spellcaster might be useful. It's important that, to note that Fire Harpoons is based off of your caster's location. So having a recurable caster is actually good. We could also use the muses, which we can look at later. Yeah, these are all minions that we're looking at now, like this. That's equipment, that's a minion, and that happens to be an aura. It's all in the title of the card. They are pretty flavorful about how they constructed these cards. It's honestly just pleasing to look at, but it's also very informative. No, not advanced. We're going to use our quick filters, go to sites. I do want to just look at earth sites, and we're going to get our duels in here, which are going to be the aqueducts. We've got a lot of water. We're definitely skewed towards water here with Undertow. Undertow is another good way to move units. So the way this reads is staying within this body of water. This one's relevant for body of water. Move target unit 1 step. So body of water is any connected water site. You're able to push-pull units this way. So this is a really excellent way to... it's only on Genesis, which is ETB in this game, so you can push your own units, or you can push opposing units through a wall of fire. It's going to work great, okay? It's going to work great. Trust me. I think that's all I want to do with the sites for now. We've only got 4 Earth sites, so I'm low committal on that. And I don't like the Great Wall as much as I think I would like. I don't really like Mirror Realm either. As much as I would just like some more Earth sites, because I feel like we're going to try to rely on those just a little bit. Holy Ground is a good healing effect that we can utilize for this list. I think because this deck is going to be minion light, the amount of damage we're doing is probably going to be reliant on our walls of fire and our spellcasters, right? So I do want to incorporate some healing effects. We'll put the pillar in, and we'll put... This sucks. We do need to make way, sadly. We do need to make way for as much, I would say, earth as possible. If we go heavy water, is Maelstrom not good? It's not bad. It's just a... Victoria, it's just that our strategy is kind of doing a dumb thing. I think we're going to need to adjust our sites again later, but what I'm going to do for now is just add a Holy Ground. You'll notice if we look at our curve here, let's see here, our resources are 21, 39, and 21. That's a fairer split than I actually anticipated. So, I'm happy with this. I want to make a majority of our sites water-based, though, for our effects. Make our drowns better, all that stuff. But the next thing I want to do is add in some utilities. So because we're relying on pushing and pulling things, as a matter of fact, why don't we just look at push really quick. Again, the main one is going to be our wind blast to move units around. I do have this dream to just roll boulders. Roll boulders all day. Maybe we'll try to live the dream here. I want to have a rolling boulder deck. This might not be it, and that might get sidelined later, but I've been wanting to do that. The specific wording for Pudge Butcher is drag. So we're going to get some other things that don't logic, but Punch Butcher says shoot a projectile, it hits a unit, drag it to it's this location, and then Punch Butcher fights it. So obviously, if you've put a wall of fire up, you've put a Punch Butcher up, they don't move their avatar, poo-poo on them, you are going to sink the pink, if you know what I mean. And I just mean kill. I mean kill their unit. That's all I mean. We're probably not going to rely on the grapple shots of the world. I don't think that's necessary for us. We do have some air affinity, so for me, I would like to rely on as many cantrips as possible to help us hit the sites we need for affinities, but also just draw through our list, and ultimately Sorcerer will draw through our list. Okay. So we've got a lot of push-pull effects here. I don't know that there are many others we could manipulate. These harpooners are a viable option, but not a really good one. Gain control of all tapped units here. Yeah, that's pretty shit. I mean, because we're pushing things where we want them, we could technically utilize this, but it just dies to everything. It really has no form of evasion, like via stealth. You think that this creepy djinn hiding in the clouds would have like stealth, but creepy spirit, I should say. It's not a great card. The other pull effect that we're not using is this harpooner. But deal 1 damage to target minion above or below an adjacent water site and pull that minion to this location. So look, it's essentially the same thing as this fire harpoons. Adjacent water site, it's just not going to happen. Practically speaking, I don't see the harpooners working for us, although I do think they're notable as a potential pull effect, and it's only minions, so we're not going to get avatars that way. That's where Punch Butcher kind of comes in handy. I do want to just look at our cantrips really quick. I know there's a few we're missing that I would really like, namely Geyser. Geyser's great. You'll notice a lot of things that we've looked at so far have requested that it hits a water site. When you flood target site, it becomes a water site. So we could use this, obviously. And then if we're in Earth, we're going to add the common sense. But again, I want to see if there's any casters that I enjoy that are water-based, that aren't too demanding. I'm going to sideline a Blink. I think that Blink is just too good not to incorporate if we're able to incorporate it. Sometimes you just need to get out of line of sight of all of those burn spells your opponents might have, and Blink lets you move nearby to get the hell out of the way. So it is quite good at doing that. Fade is honestly not that bad, but I don't think it's good enough in this instance, or at least not for our general strategy of pushing, pulling, and running things through walls of fire. I really thought there was a better draw utility. Let me see here. It'd be cute to use Land Surveyor, honestly, to draw through our sites early game. Honestly, I don't hate that strategy. It's also just a good blocker. I don't know if we need 4, but I'm going to put 4. Really hope Arthurian Legends gives us powerful Lady in the Lake that helps water a bit more. Yeah, I don't know what, sadly, I don't have any deets that I could share, but I don't know what's coming. I'm excited and I'm anticipating that it's going to change the meta. I hope. I do hope. Most new sets of games generally do. I mean, if they released a set and it did nothing, then it'd be pretty boring. But I don't think they're going to disappoint. So this is cute for Spellcaster, but it's not very good. Obviously, Grandmaster Wizard's great, and Apprentice Wizard's great. Just being able to draw spells and then have caster setup is really nice. The Adept Illusionist is cool because you run 2, they're both elite. Search your hand, cemetery, or spellbook for another Adept Illusionist and summon it nearby. There is summoning sickness in this game. This won't be able to do that immediately, but provided one is alive, you'll always be able to get the other spellcaster back. So they make for really good blockers, but they also make for good mobile spellcasters. I think you should show off your dust promos. Oh, it's a long story. I don't have one, but It would be cool to see them. I am sure they're going to be accessible soon. I forget when he said the window was, but all right, let's do. Oh god, do I want Adept Illusionist? Not really. But I mean, Fire Harpoons is kind of dead without it. Okay. And I'm not really into Fenvale Muse, but I am into the other spellcasters. This is an awkward build to make. The one other thing I want to consider with you guys is Giant Shark. Again, wait, I thought they gave them to you after the tournament. It's a long story. I don't have one, though. Don't worry. It's not Sorcery's fault. Giant Shark, Submerged Waterbound. Whenever another unit enters or moves between sites in this body of water, Giant Shark moves to that unit to fight it. So, unit, again, meaning minions or avatars. This also means your own minions and avatars, but it's a lot of damage. It's a lot of damage. So, like, along with the Wall of Fire, we're going to try to, like, we're going to spice it up with a little bit of Shark Bites. And you're going to have 3 in the deck, so it's pretty exceptional in my opinion. I think that this is going to be a bomb for the list if we're able to pull enough things into our body of water. I need to see how many cards we have in our deck. We have 33 cards. Let me see here. Oh, you know what? We should probably add Philosopher's Stone. I have one now. I have 2 now. So that's a good bit of news. I got some packs out of this tournament, which was nice. And I happened to open 2 Philosopher's Stones, which I needed. I've needed for so long. So yeah, we're gonna add one. We have them to play now, and we got some stones. Not some stones. Some. God, they're not Moxen. I was just looking at it. Core. Jeez. Core. So yeah, you know, I don't know if we add every core. Let me just add every core. Let me just add every core for now. It's important to note that unlike Philosopher's Stone, the cores are actual ramp. You know, Philosopher's Stone is cost reduction, so even if you don't need the affinity gain off of the core, it's good early game ramp. But we don't really have any real consequential plays. It's not like we're really eyeing a 3-drop or anything off of a turn 1 core for turn 2. Not really, but we do have a lot of double affinity. I do want to consider things like Drown as well. We've got so much stuff. We got so much stuff we need to shift around, like, quantity-wise. Yeah, very lucky with the Philosopher's Stones. Seriously lucky with the Philosopher's Stones. You know, it was a nice little perk. You know, I've been needing those for so long, and it was funny because there was a case, and apparently when you open a box from a case that has, if one booster box has a Philosopher's Stone, then the rest of the boxes are slated to have them. So, as luck would have it, I wound up pulling 2 out of that lot, which is really nice. Let me see here. Apprentice Wizard. This whole deck is really gonna come down to playtesting, which, you know, I would love to do with you guys. Atlantean Fate is nice. My issue with Atlantean Fate is that it's affected non-ordinary sites, so I don't know. We're not really using any ordinary sites, but what's cool about this is that they become water sites, provide everything that you're reading here. But again, we need water sites for our stuff to be really effective, the push and pull effects. But again, we're not really mobilizing our own spellcaster for... the more and more I look at Fire Harpoons, the more and more I'm realizing it's probably not viable for us unless we Wind Blast, then Fire Harpoon a thing, and somehow our avatar manages to stay in line with that thing. It's a weird setup. I do think a one of Atlantean Fate is probably worthwhile, though. And so far as like other core utilities are concerned, I think that Earthquake is going to be good for shifting sites around. Do bear in mind, though, that the sites me see here. You may rearrange sites within a 2x2 square, carrying along everything of normal size, then burrow all minions and artifacts on top of those sites. I used to think, I thought this was like land sites at first. I guess that's not true. Well, we might want to use Earthquake. Does our friend Kyle use Earthquake? Probably. Where's Earthquake? No. Okay. Well, then screw it then. If Kyle doesn't want it. Wait. We talked about this, so I am going to defer to some of his strategy here, although we've definitely deviated. I opened 2 cases and got 0. Damn. Yeah. No, I'm sorry about that. It's very I don't know why the boxes are set up that way, but it's very odd to me that one case would hold all the Philosopher's Stones. It'd be nice if it was divvied up better, but that's just what was rumored, but it was definitely verified from the case that we opened. I think that part of that product was meant to be allocated to guests, which it was, and then there was just leftover from the event, which we were welcome to, so it was nice. I did buy one. Yeah. I've been refraining from buying one, and I'm glad I did. Like this one, like, instance of luck. I usually don't hit the mana crypts of the world, so I'm like very fortunate to have found one that way. All right, so we've got our auras, we've got our cores, we've got our boulder, we've got our illusionists, which are recurable spellcasters. We've got ways to draw into our sites to build out our site base more easily. We've got the pudgy. We're not really relying on air much, are we, outside of Wind Blast? So we just need to make sure we hit at least one of our split lands early on. We could probably rely on wind a little bit more, what with all of our resources in wind, frankly. And like I was saying earlier, I knew we would need to shift our site base, but building decks in Sorcery, by the way, it's hard to really find balance with any of this until you've play tested it a few times, to be honest. And the one thing we should and can look at is just the cost of our deck, right? So you can't see my cursor, but the cost versus the number of resources in the list. And right now it's slightly unbalanced. I think we definitely want to shift away from air, fire, and fuel, earth a little bit more, and earth, water seems to be our main colors here, and you can kind of see that just from this general outline. It is important, though, that we hit the 1 threshold on Wall of Fire and the 1 threshold on Wind Blast. We're similar in that, luckily, I have a daughter that does pull the gas. Yeah, it's funny, a friend, his girlfriend is the same way. Like, he'll have her open up majority of any box he buys just because her luck happens to be better, and it's held true up until this point. My luck is usually kind of poop, although the recent One Piece boxes I opened, I bought 3 boxes and I found 3 alternate art leaders, which is not usually the case. You don't usually have hit rate like that. You'll often go opening boxes and never hit an AA leader, so I was lucky to hit 3 in a row. Fortunately, they were all decent. I really want to play Yamato. Sadly, I did not pull a Yamato, but I'm not going to cry over that. I might cry over it, actually. That's just off camera. Okay. Our site base. I want to adjust our site base. So, as I've mentioned, Earth seems to be much more of a pillar in this list than the other colors. The only thing is I want to keep Bottomless Pit for sure. We could flood a Bottomless Pit and pull things into the Bottomless Pit. But again, the Fire Harpoons, it's only relevant provided we have a spellcaster within that body of water, but Riptide will do the job. Riptide will do the job. I think we just ditch the Fire Harpoons at this point. I'll put them to the side for now. And we still need to add more to our spell book, but I want to fix up our atlas. So, Bottomless Pit. Can we say our resources? No, let's go back. The only duel we're not using, if I'm not mistaken, is well, all of the land-based ones, I guess. I want to maintain water here. The only things we need to ditch, I would say, are probably air sites in this instance. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, there's not much to ditch in that regard. I guess it would be like a lighthouse and a ruin. Ooh, yeah, I'm very much not high on ruin, actually. I'll put ruin off to the side. Again, I want to make sure that we maintain as many water sites as possible. Holy ground's exceptional, so we can have the 3. Pillars is a 1 of. All right. We could build this out so we have 1 more earth site, or we could go with, you know what, we can go back to, I don't think I put it on my sideboard. I still am a fan of the free city, but I do think that it would maybe be better to have the flexibility of the mirror realm. Like, I was thinking mirror realm would be nice, or I was thinking Great Wall would be kind of cool, again, to funnel people, but I don't want too many colorless resources, and I think the bottomless pits are kind of the premium ones in this situation, so I'm happy with that. All right. Rest of the deck. Geyser is a must. It's exceptional. We got all of them. Riptide is a must. Windblast is a must. Drown is a must. A 3 is fine. We never added Common Sense. Is there nothing that we can replace Windblast with to boost the consistency of resources? Oh, not really, you know, so we'll go back. Wait, is this, hold up, that's 20, that's 20, that's accurate, right? Give me 1 second, guys. Let's see here. I wouldn't say it's a must. That would take us out of air completely if we got rid of the Wind Blast. That's true. I still think that Wind Blast is a good effect to manipulate, just for the pushing and pulling effects. Because if we push everything, let's see here. How would it work with Giant Shark? That's the real question. Whenever another unit enters or moves between sites in this body of water, Giant Shark moves to that unit to fight it. So my thought is, if we push multiple things into the body of water with the shark, it is going to fight them, right? How many, if a unit moves to the same site? No. If it fights airborne stealth? Yes. What if it happens to summon by minion in Genesis? Nope. What if the path of the shark is? Nope. I just want to see if there's multiple units that move into the space. I assume this trigger happens multiple times and you stack it how you'd wish. You know, oof. Give me 1 second. I just want to read through this FAQ. You could read it with me. Ah, damn. Underwater, as long as it specifies the few steps possible. I wouldn't say it's a must, mind you, with Wind Blast. If a unit moves within the same site, does Shark trigger? Moves within the same site? No, that's weird. Enters includes minions that are summoned? Yes. Yes, okay. You're right, though, Grizzly. I don't hate removing Windblast, although it does narrow the amount of pushing and pulling we have, option-wise. But to be honest, Windblast was never really the best option to begin with, strictly because Wall of Fire would consequently move with Windblast, and it maybe overly complicates how the deck is functioning. So I honestly don't mind sidelining it and then considering this just a water, earth, and fire deck. So on that note, we need to remove the lighthouses. Ooh, okay. I don't hate removing it. I do think we just need to buckle down on our site base. So let's remove the lighthouses. And I still want the color out of space. But this lets us utilize a few more utility sites, right? So we could probably incorporate the free city now. See, well, free city with wind blast is pretty sweet, but again, we're not we're not going to be too concerned about that. I mean, air is currently my favorite. Just feels like you're going to have a certain number of games where it burns you. Maybe, yeah. We could take out the core as well for air amethyst. Air is definitely my favorite color. Air earth is the combination I generally play in this game, so any deviation from that is going to be a fun time for me personally. All right. I'm sorry I'm so sniffly, guys, by the way. I didn't ask for this life. So how many earth sites do we have? There's aqueducts, holy ground, pillars. I did want to incorporate divine healing. I'm not gonna lie. Divine healing is one of the better spells in the game. We could probably add two. Add two to start. With our lands, like, we should definitely get there, and land surveyor is going to help us get there. Again, I don't know if we need 3 land surveyors. I also want some just burn effects. Let's do... What do I appreciate? I could probably go with... Teleporting minions is cute. I'm trying to think of how we could set up the wall of fire best. Again, the whole goal is to manipulate wall of fire to the utmost. So yeah, so however you guys want to incorporate wall of fire best, let me know if there's a card that I'm missing that you think would be good for positioning. I do think it's important to have a handful of shoot down your opponent when they're at death's door effects. So something like a heat ray or something like fire bolts would be good. Let's just do the 2 firebolts for now, and let's look at the list. Okay. And mind you, the deck minimum is 40. We could go over that, should we like. I don't think we should have to. The wind blast with the rolling boulder. Adept Illusionist is less useful now that we've taken out the harpoons. And I still want to roll with a boulder, baby. Like, I'm totally cool to just push a boulder at my opponent every single turn. Oh, that's so funny. It could wind up biting us in the ass, though. We'll see. Especially if they're, like, hard aggro, but it's just funny to cast and roll a boulder into... You know, like, if we're funneling them well, the rolling boulder should do its trick in, like, killing everything. Yeah, Free City is a little bit awkward now, too. I feel like at least 1 Great Wall would be good. Let's do that. Let's add 1 Great Wall. I didn't sideboard it. I'll add a Great Wall, and then I want to add... The deck is incomplete. Yeah, thank you. I knew that. I could see that. There's nothing I dislike. I question how effective it will be. But I don't doubt that it's gonna be at least mediocre. Here. It's got Sorcerer at the helm. It's probably fine. We've got the common sets, right? So we'll do Great Wall. What were you mentioning earlier, Victoria? Something about Maelstrom? Maelstrom. Oh, hey. That's not how you spell that. Oh, God. That's really not how you spell it. Maelstrom. At the start of your turn, you may pull in each minion in this body of water 1 step. Yeah, that's... Oh, you know what, man? Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot that's how that read. That's better than Undertow. At the start of your turn, you may pull each minion in this body of water 1 step. I mean, it's... Being able to pull opposing avatars is kind of good off the Undertow. But yeah, you're right. We should probably have the one of Maelstrom. And on that note, I'll probably get rid of... I'll probably get rid of the Mirror Realm. I'm like usually not too high on Mirror Realm. I need to see our resources. We don't have them here. Yeah, 45-33 split, and it's an even split between... Damn. Is that right? Wow, okay. Well, we just put a shit ton of earth in here. We'll go remove one undertow, I think. That seems fine. Okay. There's 2 more spells to put in our spell book, and then I could consider this done. Again, a lot of the theory crafting in this, it's really when you put the deck up against another list is when you can find out how it actually shakes out. But I think the general goal here will be to manipulate Wall of Fire to slay a lot of low B minions. Again, 3 damage kills pretty much everything. So we're going to manipulate our push-pull effects to kill all those things that hit the ground. We will need things like Drown to kill some larger minions, or things like Firebolt in tandem with a pass-through Wall of Fire to get the job done. What's important about this is that, things like Riptide, they're cantrips, so they're going to help us pull through the list as we're doing all of this, but we don't have very many other effects that work quite like Riptide. It is arguably the best. It does require us to have water sites, but that is a really good counter to the root spiders of the world and all of the, effects that really care about you having land sites, because a berry won't work on a site that contains water, right? So like an oasis. This is a water site. Maelstrom's a water site. This is a water site. So, those areas are going to be safe from things like that. So we're kind of playing counter to a lot of mainline removal in just going water. I think that we could probably use some more damage on board, though, and/or I kind of just want more damage on board. I think we should probably go for... I feel like 2 common sense is fine. There's a whole lot of Geyser, but I do like Geyser. Giving a minion airborne is pretty legit. Although none of our minions necessarily care, if I'm being honest. Right? This one's immobile. The shark with airborne is kind of scary, I guess. We make our own Sharknado. Geyser is really just a tech card for removing anything that's burrowed. Frankly, that's usually how I see it. Although we could probably take 1 out and we'll be fine. So we have a little bit more leeway here. Again, I like Clamor of Harpies quite a bit as a card. This is really good for... when you strike something, you just deal your damage to it. There's no FK. Okay, well, there's no confirmation, but that's how that functions. So I could teleport a weaker minion. It could be one of my own or one of my opponents to kill it here. It also sets us up again for that push-pull effect, depending on where our sites are located. And, if we set up a Wall of Fire between one of our sites and then we put the Clamor of Harpies, I can set up striking the minion and killing it, and or just set it up for a push-pull effect. I don't know why you wouldn't just kill it at that point, but there's some cool plays to be done with Clamor of Harpies. I feel like it's one of those underutilized flyers in the game. And again, 3 damage is fine. I think that it will die to our own Wall of Fire if they have a way to pull it through, but que sera in that instance. We've got all of the healing I would want. I can't think of anything that I really dislike with the list outside of the fact that it doesn't have much by way of damage. It's not very aggressive whatsoever. Oh, you know what I really want to add? I'm sorry. This is the final tech card. So this is really good in decks, in my opinion, that are trying to do what we're doing here, but don't have the inherent card advantage of Sorcerer. I think that this is just a value add, though. So what's cool about it is that it's repeatable removal. So whenever a minion enters the affected water site, submerge it. This is all provided the thing doesn't have, the ability to stay submerged and not die. And then you return this to your hand. So yes, you need to pay 3 to do this repeatedly, but it's better than Drown if you're pushing and pulling things, right? Let's verify. Enters the site. If I grapple shot a minion, submerge the Mariner's Curse. When grapple shot projectile has a unit that creates its own. And B, then we start resolving. Mariner's Curse is on site B. Once the unit is dragged and reaches site B, it will submerge. It will be submerged and live. Then the game tries to resolve B surface, which fails. Huh. At any rate, what I was really trying to drive at is I'm trying to see rulings for like the push and pull effects that we're going to be manipulating. Excuse me. It should all be kosher though. But yeah, I've been wanting to use this super bad in a deck, so we'll incorporate it here. And again, we have a majority of water sites, so the double threshold shouldn't be an issue. Okay, that doesn't help with our damage, I'm not gonna lie. And we will need to flood sites, honestly, for our sharks to do damage. I think Pudge Butcher, that's maybe why I really wanted the Wind Blast. Because the way I saw building this site base out, when you look at the deck and the way you should be playing it, let me just, here, I'll just use these tokens for illustrative purposes. So you start here and you establish your domain here. If we were to play this deck, I imagine us building sites out like so. So, you know, this would be like a free city. This would be a great wall. Perhaps we don't build anything to our sides, like here, here, here. So what this allows us to do is if we used a Wind Blast and we're having things move a cardinal direction, you know, like I want to move things to the right or I want to move things to the left. Let's say that our opponent places their avatar here. If I happen to Wind Blast this way, every unit will move that way, except for units that aren't allowed to move there because there isn't a site, right? So in this instance, we can like effectively move that guy back, their avatar, right? Presumably, maybe they blinked that way because they want to be out of line of sight of a Pudge Butcher we placed here. So we can Wind Blast them to move it back. Not only that, like maybe we move them through our Wall of Fire. They take the 3 from that. They take the damage from Pudge Butcher. It's just a really good combo play. And if Pudge Butcher's back here and it's a water site, then like their berry will not work. And it's very unlikely that they're mainlining drowns like we are. So removing the Pudge Butcher is going to be more of a difficult task than you realize. So that's kind of why I wanted the Wind Blast. It's just a really good countermeasure to movements of our opponents. It's one of the only cards in the game currently that allows you to move your opponent's avatar, which is really powerful. Again, not many effects allow you to dictate the movement of your opponent's pieces and like all of their units. So it's a pretty powerful play. And I think that, you know, I don't know if it's a good enough excuse for us to lean into air just for that, though. I do agree. So we're going to need to rely on other effects to get us there. It does suck, though, because like a blink would have been a really good inclusion for, say, our Pudge Butcher. It's just like teleporting it within range is kind of crucial as well. So instead of like, you know, having to worry about not having mobility on our guy here, we could just blink them here and go ahead and draw in the opponent that way, right? And because Wall of Fire is so cheap and Blink is so cheap, it's 2 and I think 2 for both of them. 2 and 2, pretty sure. Let me look at Blink. Do I have my Blink here? Yeah, Blink is 2. Right, so like you could move the Pudge Butcher here and play a Wall of Fire here to rope this guy in and still do that combo, right? Which again is 8 damage, which is nothing to, you know, scoff at. At any rate, I think that the list as it stands, let's go ahead and just get this on. Let's get this on the board here so that we can look at the deck minimally. Give me 1 second. Group these up. No, you don't want to group up? Okay, I'll just put them over there. Let's do this. Again, if you're in the audience and you have Tabletop Simulator and you wanted to try playtesting this with me, let me know and we can look at it. But otherwise, I'm going to try to relax and playtest this with you guys and then get to work. This is such a poopy weekend for relaxation, but I'm going to take Monday off. So you guys, if you're wondering, hopefully be better by tomorrow. All right, so I just want to get a general idea of the play lines and strategies here, and we can make some assumptions for our opponent. I'm going to go ahead and just like establish these red dots for where their sites might be, and we can use this D6 as our opponent. Let's do get them on 1. Can I? Oh, okay. God, that's the saddest roll. There you go. Okay, so that's our opponent. These will be their sites. Okay, so shuffled up. We'll draw 3 cards. Let's see here. Can you see those? You can't see those, can you? I move them out. Yeah, okay. Oh, hey. We'll do this. Do this. Drown. You can see that. Yeah, where are these? Oh, there you go. That's better. Ooh, yeah, that's better. So we've got our wall of fire, right? I wouldn't say it's too soon for the wall of fire, but we're not going to do much with it. Giant shark is kind of hard to place without air sites giving you ramp, so that's sort of perceived ritual, or any mixes to help you place this on the board sooner as well, but that's fine. It just means that they waste their early removal on other things. But the thing is, this list only uses Pudge Butchers, Giant Sharks, and Land Surveyors. So how much early removal might they even be wasting? Unfortunately on a phone, otherwise, no, you're good. Don't worry about it. I just want to like go through what the deck would generally behave like, and then we can sort of sort out what kind of hands we would want to look at. I think we do keep the Wall of Fire. I think that we could get rid of the Giant Shark and the Drown, though. I don't think we need those this early. I would rather see if we pull into any sort of ramp. Aqueduct is good because it's our 2 main colors. I think we keep that. Undertow is really good, and Holy Ground is also a little too early for me. So I'm going to put under Holy Ground, excuse me, below my site base, and Undertow, I think we could do better. Let's go. Let's go with that. Let's do this. Do this. They usually auto-organize when you place them in there, so there we go. And we'll do this. Do this. Do this. It's difficult when you have a trackpad on Tabletop Simulator. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so we'll draw 2 more sites. And we'll draw... Wait, no, that is definitely wrong. Those should have been at the bottom. Let's draw 2 more spell book. Let's see if that was accurate. All right, that's accurate. Divine Healing, great. Yeah, we're never gonna see that. Well, we'll see. Maybe we will see it played. Is this draw 1? Aqueduct. Okay, it's accurate now. Okay. So Free City is maybe not something we want to start with. I think we want to roll with the Aqueduct first. Let's just pretend that we get to go off play. So they play their site here, obviously. They're there. They're also a fellow sorcerer. Very cool of them. All right, I'm going to draw to start from my spellbook. Trying to find a ramp piece would be really nice. I think we play a site here, obviously, to establish our domain, and then pass. They go. They do their thing. Let's see here. They do their thing. They'll place a site here. They're trying to do the aggro thing. They play a minion here or here. It's definitely not going to be a Vile Imp, and they pass. Okay, cool. Turn start. Usually wait to draw your sites till later when you don't have any more options, and you know I'm pretty comfortable with that because we just saw Philosopher's Stone. Let's be a baller. Just drop the stone now. And let's go ahead and drop an Aqueduct. Because we're not on a strategy that really cares, we can sort of build along the back line and force them to just start funneling this way. Again, we have that great old Rolling Boulder. But again, the issue with Rolling Boulder is the fact that, you know, Philosopher's Stone's not going to help us get there. It is cost reduction for the first elemental spell. So technically, we're looking at 3 mana here, but it's more like 2 with reduction. So we could technically put the Aqueduct here to build out our Wall of Fire. And again, you know, we're down a mana because of the Philosopher's Stone, but we still have 2 for turn. I think we do that or Free City. We could build a Free City off to the side, though, which I like better. Because they're on the play, we can sort of match where they build out because they're going to want to move around the wall of fire, obviously, so we can match where they build out. So we'll put the wall of fire here on the border. You say, come at me, brah. You can shoot me with your shit. They shoot me with their shit, and then I divine healing if we get another earth site, which we're, you know, 2 of the way there, so I feel pretty good. We'll put the wall of fire here. Again, nothing short of a dispel is going to do anything for the wall of fire, so I'm feeling good. All right, they take their turn. They'll build out here. They'll drop a thing. They probably won't try to go into our territory. I'm going to mute myself this time. Sorry, like this sniffling is killing me. I'm sure it's bothering. So we do that. Did I mute the right mic? I think so. Let's go. They build there. We're only gonna like light up their sites, you know, they could feasibly blink here or something, they, you know, but it's fine. Their avatar's gonna stay there for now. They build out there. That's just what they do. Cool. Start of our next turn. We're gonna go for another spell book because I really like the site we're rolling with. Another wall of fire. We're gonna go free city here. Free city there is a good call. I'm gonna put a boulder here, and mind you, technically we did that to play the free city, so we can't push the boulder yet, but they need to move if they don't want to get hit by a boulder. To be honest though, I would rather grab a site next turn and play a site, but this is a really cute play. I wish we had some cantrips to roll with, but I'll put a rolling boulder down just to scare them. So 4 damage is no joke. In this game, when you use a healing effect, it's not like you can go above your health count, right? So our opponent's going to take 4, and they could probably roll 4 back our way, but that's nearly 1/4 of their health, and Punch Butcher is 1/4 of their health. So we've got a lot of damage on board with just those 2 things. It doesn't make sense, in my opinion, to go with the Wall of Fire here, so we won't. Oh, I'm sorry, I just established we can't play this, but maybe we do the Wall of Fire at this point because we have shit all else to do, but it would be kind of funny to roll out another Wall of Fire here and just stay in this back line. And then when we do the Punch Butcher thing, if they're still there, it's pretty bad for them. You know, I don't hate this. I mean, it could also just go here, or it could also just go here. It doesn't need to border 2 sites to start. Border a site you control. There are options. Let's just put it here for now. I think this is too cute not to do. We'll worry about our boulder later. Punch Butcher comes out next turn, though. Okay, so they get their turn. They're like, okay, well, I see what you're doing. It's obnoxious. I'll build this way as well. And we're like, okay, that's fine. You get that next turn. Let's draw a site. Hopefully it's a good one. Another free city? No, Oasis? That's actually not bad for us. So it does give us the... Oh, you know what? We never had the affinity, did we? That's okay. So the affinity... the affinity is going to come... Again, I keep thinking Philosopher's Stone is my actual first time playing Philosopher's Stone. It's not like a core. You don't get the affinity discount. You just get a discount on the spell. So they could have hit us here, and that's fine. We'll probably put our first Wall of Fire here then when we have a chance, but I think we go with this. Oh damn, yeah, we're really slowed by that. We really need to get a fire site much sooner. But we'll do the Pudgy right here. It's a pretty fair exchange, and this can keep him alive. Ah, damn, that hurts. Yeah, you know, I need to look at the number of our resources again to see if we have a good amount. We might need to add more fire sites to balance this out, honestly. But that's okay. Okay. So, dang, only 4. Yeah. It's a tough day for sorcery. No, it's okay. I feel like the live stream sorceries are usually pretty slow. It's okay. But that's again, we're not playing against anyone right now, so this is all just theory crafting for what I think an opponent would do in opposition. Let's do this. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we play the Pudgy. Hopefully it sticks. We'll let them take their turn, though. You know, most decks, like if they're hard aggro, they could probably stop at 4 and just keep working us this way. Let's just pretend that they want to build out one more. They go over here, and we take our turn. All right, we need to grab from our spell book. We're at the threshold for red at this point, and we have a Riptide. All right, so if they didn't blink here or here, which I honestly think they definitely should get the hell out of the way. So they would move this way if possible. Pulls over, units adjacent to. We don't have a way to wet the earth here if this isn't a water site. Target water site pulls an above ground unit it's adjacent to. So, I mean, unless this is a water site, we're not going to be able to pull it this way. Are you still advertising the streams in the Sorcery Discord? I'm not. We could. Today was up in the air. This was a little impromptu, but I do want to manage more sorcery streams in the future, and they should be every Saturday morning, pending nothing changes. So if you guys are available, then obviously I would love to have a guest on, or if you're just a player on the Discord that wants to participate in gameplay, I feel like sorcery is a little bit more of an intimate, longer game, so I don't blame you if you don't have the time, but if anyone wanted to participate, they're more than welcome to. But let's just, for the sake of discussion, pretend that this is a water site. So we've got 4 mana we're rolling with. I don't think we're going to use our sorcerer to draw a site here. We'll go down 1 mana to play a Riptide to move their sorcerer this way. Their avatar, I should say. Although I've been pretending it's a sorcerer this whole time, don't worry about it. Okay, so Pudgy has options now, but what's nice about this setup is that we are able to get a cost reduction here for 1, and then we're able to play this for 2. So this is kind of a funny exchange, but, you know, us being hampered by our lack of affinity earlier at least allowed this to be a little bit more of a surprise play, I would say. Again, you know, we would need to know that this was a water site, but it is actually rising in prominence to play water sites early so that your units are protected from some early game removal effects that are very commonplace. It's also just a good root spider deterrent. So they need to think of it more as a reactionary card than something that they could just place on you, which always gets old. I will play anytime that I'm not working, but being a GM, I tend to work Saturday mornings. Well, just text me on the Discord and we can figure out a time that works better. But yeah, I should probably put these on the Sorcery Network. I have just two. I have a full-time job and I also freelance with a lot of people, so it's hard to. I don't really like making what we do on the channel work. Like, not effectively work. I mean, it feels like work when I have to think about advertising these things. So I'm honestly okay with whomever shows up for the stream and whomever shows up for the VOD. It's totally fine in my book because this is like just for my own personal enjoyment. I don't want this to become work is what I'm saying at this point. I would for sure love if this just rose in prominence and was like a full-time job, but I'm trying to make this that. All right, so we're going to move their dude off of the Pudgy this way. So passes a wall of fire, passes a wall of fire. We could pretend that they've been hitting me with violence and whatnot. That's fine. Okay, so, and I would say that 6 damage is probably natural here. The violence, 2 projectile, maybe it was like a kobold or something here. Doesn't matter, we took 6 damage. So they'll take 3 for this wall of fire, 3 for this wall of fire, and then it gets struck by a Pudgy. So that's 11 damage in one shot. That's not so bad. And again, I don't think it's that far-fetched that we... you know what I forgot to do, honestly? We forgot to draw a card. I do think it's probably most appropriate to grab a site here. So that we have mana to play with, but I also really want to hit the threshold on our divine healing. So we could technically, you know, if we know we don't want to play the site, we can sort of just go here. It's generally advisable to just grab from our spell book, but because I knew my turn was mapped out the way I wanted it with the 2 fire sites. We don't have any mana to play with, so unless I was thinking I could draw into a core, which is very likely, then it maybe would have logic to do that. But I honestly just want our site options for next turn, so I will go ahead and tap to draw another site. Again, I just want to look for another Earth site. We found all of our oases. Great. I don't think we need to draw another site unless we're really worried about dying soon, which, again, if this is like a hard aggro list we're facing, I probably would want to get Divine Healing online if possible. And we could, again, just find our next core, but the Onyx core. I don't know what the odds are at this point, but it's fine. We're in a really good place, though. If this avatar wants to move away from us, they would need to blink this way to avoid, like, going through this wall. It does need to move in a cardinal direction, if I'm not mistaken, to actually take damage from Wall of Fire. So they could technically get out of this still, but elsewise they would be walking through a Wall of Fire. So, like, where do they go? All right, so next turn they do their thing. They're not going to play any more sites at this point, but they will peg me. I don't know. Maybe they play a Kobold here and they blink the Kobold there to damage me. I think I would want to move the hell away. Let's say they do that much more damage. They match me. Okay. Let's see here. We want to kill this avatar as soon as possible or get them to Death's Door as soon as possible. So at this point, we're probably just going to focus on doing that instead of trying to go for the Divine Healing, because we're pretty evenly matched. This is going to help us get our projectiles for the kill later. But if you're looking at our hand, we've got a rolling boulder. It rolls as far as possible, deals fire to each other unit along its path. Its path is going to consist of these things. I do not believe that it will include the place it starts. So we could just do this. Right, hit him and then hit him, and that's 6 damage. And that puts the opponent where we want him. Sorry. And, you know, depending on which way they move, and they will need to move away from the Pudge Butcher, this boulder's kind of going to be useless, frankly. We need to not get to Death's Door, because if we were to fall into the fire here, we're kind of screwed. Riptide is not... Riptide is water. All right, that's really good. Huh. So, sorry, Riptide is water. Riptide is ordinary. So I was trying to see if we could use Wall of Fire to kill our opponent. Now, if they were to blink here, blink here, technically, they could avoid a Riptide. Like, if we just pulled them this way, the Wall of Fire does nothing. It would just be better to get a projectile. The only issue is if we get down to Death's Door on our turn, we can't just move here and shoot a projectile this way, because we will die from our own Wall of Fire. So our best solution off of the common sense, I honestly don't know. Okay, so let's pretend they do that and are able to get us to Death's Door. What solution do we have for this turn? So we'll start our turn. We'll draw a spell. Oh, I should have used common sense at the end of that turn. I'm sorry. We were even talking about it. So before I go for the actual play, let's just search our deck for what ordinaries we have. Geyser's cute. Drown is cute. This is where Blink comes in handy. This is where Blink comes really in handy. And I always think, you know, with Air's mobility in mind, our opponent might not have that kind of mobility to skirt around our effects. But I do think Riptide's the right solution. I'm sorry, because we literally just need to put him in line for the Pudge Butcher to kill. So yeah, we grab the Riptide. And if we don't want them to have that knowledge from common sense, we could just wait till this turn, frankly. Right? So instead of letting them know we have a solution, maybe let them feel comfortable doing that. Because even if they did like a flanking maneuver, which I think is a teleport technically, like it would skirt around the walls of fire as well. Let me just look at that really quick, because we are talking about Air in opposition. Teleport any number of allies. Yeah, this would skirt around the wall of fire as well. Riptide will be able to pull them back. Again, we've established that this was a water site from earlier. Okay, so we do that. We Riptide them. whether it was flanking or whether it was blink, and then we're able to just pudgy them right back. They should really focus on killing Pudge Butcher, but if they're just trying to damn us and get us to Death's Door as well, they could do that. But there's a lot of damage to be done in this list. It's just the practical matter of getting there from at least this first round of playtesting. And again, this is not going to be, the end-all be-all of this particular build, but the goal was to hold for... Okay, the goal is to manipulate Wall of Fire to its best effect. So that's pretty damn good. I didn't even really look at our top deck off the Riptide. See how important it would have been. Giant Shark. Okay. Yeah, so a lot of damage really quickly, but again, the fates really aligned up for us in this mock scenario. But I mean, I don't think I was doing anything I wouldn't have done with that opposing player, and who knows, they might have had like a jihad over here to work us down even quicker with their fire units. They could have been even more aggressive than we let on for this fire air build. I think fire earth is technically the more popular of the pairings for aggro at this moment. But did we put wildfire in the list? We could just take another gander at the deck before we close this one out. No, we did not. Wildfire. Wildfire is another aura. It's this one. Conjure top single site. At the end of turn, each unit here takes 3 damage, then move Wildfire to an adjacent location that it hasn't visited. If none remain, dispel Wildfire. So this is very common in an Enchantress build. Here it's still quite good, though. And again, it's only 1 red affinity. Huh. Kind of a good way to funnel the units, too. But Wildfire just murks everything. It's not bad. Feels like it would work. Yeah. No. I like the idea. Chases their stuff. I actually really like this idea. Let's put the wildfires. I don't know what we take out of the list for the wildfires. Again, I don't think we need... I actually really like the geysers to just flood sites to ensure our riptides work. I still want the firebolts to help close. I like the drown. Atlantean Fate is fine. I kind of hate Atlantean Fate as a card, though. It just feels very slow for this list. It could be the thing, it's like, it could be our saving grace as well, but I just don't like it. Mariner's Curse I like quite a bit as recurable value. I don't think we need maybe the full... I want the full set of wildfires. Not gonna lie. Land Surveyor's cute, and I think it's essential. Like, we really needed this to help us pull into our fire site when we had the... I mean, we were oddly fortunate to have like those 2 wildfires like instantaneously, but I do want to make sure we hit fire sites. I wouldn't even mind ramping up the amount, although the amount of resources is kind of accurate for the amount of cost we have associated with fire. So let's do this. Divine Healing's great, and it should stay at that count. I think we could reduce the amount of land surveyors. Do I really feel that way? I do feel that way. We could reduce the count of them, and we could reduce the count of drown, because wildfire is more or less going to be doing what drown is doing. But yeah, conjure top a single site and then move this shit around at the end of turn. Each unit here takes damage, then move wildfire. So, unless there's something on your site, and the way we were playing very slow and reactive, I think there will be something on that site. Wildfire is going to be good for picking up the slack and killing things on your sites while it funnels things towards your walls of fire. It's kind of funny. I do like Wall of Fire, by the way, as a chase down effect. That's actually really cool. All right. That's it. I think that's the list. Oh, hey, that was F&M. Oh, okay, guys. I'm going to nurse myself a little bit and then relax for even smaller portion of the day, and then get to working. Yeah, but do expect more Sorcery in the future. Guys, if you like playing Sorcery and you have Tabletop Simulator and you want to participate in these deck techs, feel free to jump on the Discord. The link is in the description, but feel free to use our channel there to get in touch with me. I try to do these every Saturday. The time might switch though moving forward, and it's funny you should mention I'm gonna be working Tuesday through Saturday this coming week. I need to take Monday off, but also I want to be in office for the weekend to do something. So Sorcery might move from Saturday to a different date, is what I'm saying. So we'll want to do builds centered around particular card effects, like Wall of Fire here. So, you know, if you have any suggestions, that's something you leave in the Discord. You can leave in the comment section after this. But if you, again, want to participate, that's the best way to do so. Just reach out to me there. But the deck, I'll leave it in the description for you guys to follow along with and try out yourself. I do think that it could be tweaked just a little bit. Just a little bit. I don't know if it's perfect, but I do think that Wildfire is a good incorporation. And I do think the site base needs to be mixed up just a little bit more. But damn, is it fun. I really do like this list a lot. I think the rolling boulders are maybe just a little too cute for it. It could have come into better play if I had pulled a cord. Thanks for being here, Patrick. Yep. If there's any different day, afternoon, or evening, I could participate. Yeah, I'm going to try to shift, so you guys know, with the schedule rolling forward. Rolling boulder. I just have it on the screen over here. But the schedule moving forward, I think we're going to position all streams in the evening, right around 6:30, depending my availability. But I would like to obviously continue doing One Piece. The pre-recorded deck techs do really well for the channel, and most of the decks build themselves in that game right now, and it's not very difficult to explain how they work. So you can expect more pre-recorded One Piece on Wednesdays. I would love to start doing Star Wars. I would really love to. Tabletop Simulator actually happens to have a version of Star Wars that I just want to look at with you guys really quick. I'm sorry if you just want to sit here and look at this with me. We're done though. You can head out if you're tired of chilling. But yeah, here we've got this now. Yeah. So I definitely want to play some Star Wars. If you guys haven't heard or looked at this new game, it is quite fun, and we can get to playtesting some decks here. I have a friend who's into it. I'll see if I can't drag him onto the show to play with me. But, you know, people feel like they've already established the meta. In my firm opinion, the game is way too fresh to really feel or believe that. Boba Fett, I think, pretty much dominated a recent tournament though, so clearly people are leaning that way. This is neither here nor there if you only care about Sorcery, but we can expect to be play testing some decks and making some decks for Star Wars soon. I do really like the game, and I think Fantasy Flight is one of the better game designers in the space right now, so shout out to Fantasy Flight for making that game. But yeah, it might not be Saturday evenings. I think that Sorcery might need to fall in line with like a weekday, perhaps a Thursday. But Magic on Fridays, Sorcery potentially on Thursday next week, One Piece Wednesdays, and Star Wars. I have to find time next week. Boba Fett's just that guy. He kind of is, and so is his ship. At any rate, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to make some tea, and I will see you sometime this week. I think we're going to do a deck tech for Magic, and I don't know which legendary I want to build because there's so many damn good new legendaries. At any rate, see you guys. Bye-bye.